episode 3 of the Business is Pleasure podcast. It's kind of crazy because we had this idea to start the podcast and we're actually doing it. We're already in week 3 consistently. We haven't taken any breaks off of it as of yet. Hopefully we don't. And what we promised one another was we're going to do 40. So we have 12 weeks where we're able to miss, maybe do other things might come up, a vacation for instance, that may occur, things like that. But I'm really happy about our consistency for the most part. So I think a good point that we should start off is, how was your week last week? What's going on with your life? How was everything with you?
My week was pretty good. I feel like I got a lot of the things done on my checklist of things to get done.
Okay, nice.
So that's always kind of a nice feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I took my nephew to Jump Zone for his birthday.
Is it called Jump Zone? I could have sworn something else.
I don't know. I honestly just made that up.
Okay, Jump Zone.
We're just going to go in Jump Zone.
So what is Jump Zone exactly? What is that about?
You just jump on a trampoline.
Mm-hmm.
And he was more interested in the basketball.
Of course, balling. Okay, I'm fine.
Yeah, so we jumped on a trampoline, shot in a basketball. I dunked a couple times.
Okay, look at you.
The little Jordan.
Nice. I'm loving it.
And they also have this disgusting vile pit of sponges.
Okay,
So
what makes that so vile though?
Because you think they wash all these sponges?
Okay, good point.
So you have all these sweaty kids jumping into this big pond of sponges, all their sweat, saliva.
I feel like that's the health inspector of you.
It definitely is 100%. I was like, Avant, do you want to try it? He's like, okay. So he did it once. He jumped in or whatever. He's like, yeah, that wasn't that fun. I was like, thank goodness.
Because you didn't want to follow it.
No.
Oh, I
didn't want him to do that all day. I was like, one time's not going to kill him. But yeah, so that was fun. And then, but yeah, overall my week was pretty good. I've stayed up with all the accounting. That's always my number one goal.
Your arch nemesis.
Yeah, but I'm winning so far. So
yeah, and that's what's most important, right? Day by day, just taking it one step at a time.
Yeah.
And you've been really consistent in everything. You actually have stopped asking me for help as much, so I'm really happy about that as well.
Yeah.
And you're doing good.
But this week was a bit crazy because we've sold a lot of stuff.
Honestly, it was really, really good. It's crazy because we had a goal that we wanted to sell for the whole year, and at this rate, we're gonna kick ass and definitely surpass that. Mm-hmm. And we haven't even started doing our events yet. The rodeo hasn't even begun yet.
The rodeo has not started.
Not one bit. Because our financial goal was a 2-part step. Of course, the distribution channels that we have online, and also the physical distribution channels like our different events that we do. Mm-hmm. And right now, we're killing it just through one distribution channel, which is all the e-commerce things that we're doing. So I'm really, really excited. What do you think the reason we're having such success right now when it comes to just selling online?
I think we've just, in general, we've kind of upped the ante a bit, right? We went from, posting, 3 times a week.
Yeah.
We went from posting, maybe 3 times a week, not being super consistent with it. And the thing about, having a plan and sticking to it, if you don't have a plan, it's you can't really stick to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%.
So, now that we actually have a plan, and we have a plan to stick to, I think that that's been one of the reasons why we've been selling so much more. And, think about it. We went from having, 3 to 6 items being posted online a week to now 14 items being posted a week.
It's crazy. And I think the good thing about our plan, too, is that we can always look back and be like, okay, we were doing this incorrectly, let's change it, let's tweak it a bit, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's the really good thing about us coming up with this new system and actually how to post more, be more consistent. Mm-hmm. And also I think that also reflects our shopping habits as well too, right? Yeah. Because the less we posted, the less reason why we had to shop.
And then a lot of the times, sorry to interrupt you, but a lot of the times our clothing would get a little bit outdated because we weren't moving as much product as fast. So now with this, it's we're curating for the time period and we're curating for our market. So we're just moving stuff a lot faster.
Yeah, 100%. Because when you look back and you look what we're doing a year ago, we were selling summer clothes in winter. Yeah. Where clearly the demographic's not looking for those items right now. No. So it was totally ridiculous what we were doing. And it was just really holding our business back so much. Yeah. We weren't getting sales. We weren't getting people to follow us. Yeah. We weren't really giving the community what they wanted, essentially, you know? And I think with now, like the plan that like we implemented, it's working so well.
Yeah.
And the thing that I think we also have to think about, how can we make it better? How can we improve?
And it's crazy because it's working really well and we haven't done a lot of marketing yet.
That's the crazy part. And
Yeah.
that's why I think, that's why I know I actually created so one of my favorite books that really helped change my life was The Power of Habit. And they talk about the habit cycle. So you need a cue, a trigger, and then like a reward system. I'm not sure if I have all the terms right, but something along those lines. And that is essentially what I want our marketing cycle to be, where we have something that the customer gets cued by. So for instance, if they watch our podcast, they remind us like, hey, let me check these guys out. Then that will bring them to our social media pages to read
Yeah.
about our articles and hopefully bring them to our website.
Yeah.
Hopefully like look at our products and purchase it. Then again, create that cycle over and over and over again.
And closing the loop.
Exactly, always closing the loop. Because what they say is 80% of your sales can come from 20% of your customers. So it's like it's really important that we engage with our community so that 20% feels that they're actually a part of it and we can bring value to them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like when I was creating the marketing strategy, it's essentially like how can we be consistent and find a way again to bring value and just close that habit loop.
Okay, perfect. So I definitely want to go over the marketing strategy with you as well because I know you kind of created it by yourself.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that will be something that we'll go over in our next strategy session.
Maybe not the next strategy session. Maybe on Saturday, because I think like the podcast. It's great for us to just like really look back on our week and talk and discuss what we're gonna do for the week. But I don't necessarily want to actually do the work while we're in our strategy sessions. And even when we weren't recording these, we weren't necessarily doing that either, right?
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll just set a date for going over the marketing strategy.
Exactly. And also, I'm really excited about the idea because we have a really good friend of ours that might be helping us to just create a more appealing and aesthetically appeasing marketing strategy when it comes to our video content or our photography, because we're starting to realize that we know who our market is, so let's make sure that all of our content is refined to
And
really
cater
reflect that market.
towards that.
Exactly. So I think like with having our friend come on, it will be able to assist us with like that extra 10%, extra 5%.
Yeah, and even with that being said, I'm really happy this week with our like followers that we've been gaining. We've been getting like 10 to 15 followers every single day.
Consistently.
So I'm like even without doing a whole ton. Well, we do a ton for our Instagram and generally, but like without doing actual marketing, I think that's something that's like really good that we're still getting followers regardless. So.
Exactly, and I think it goes back again to like consistency. One of the most important C's, right?
Yeah.
Every morning I'm waking up early, engaging with the community, liking pictures, talking to people, bringing them back to our page. You're also doing the same thing as well too, right? And the best part about it is that we have so much different platforms that we're doing that on. It's definitely going to pay off. And I think that's one thing that's really helping our sales as well, is that we're constantly inundating people with our information and with what we're doing. So it's like, hey, they saw us on Monday, they saw us on Thursday, they saw us on Sunday. Of course, they're going to eventually end up back to us and everything. But I think for my week, one thing I was really excited about was that when we got our link for the new Off-White, Rick Owens, and Fear of God stuff, it really now opens up to a brand new demographic. The same age group, but a different demographic, where this demographic, they're really more knowledge-based about the product, really informed, really in tune with the community and everything.
Yeah.
And now for us to like supply that product to them, it's amazing, right? Because for me, it kind of reminds me of how when Run DMC teamed up with like one of those rock and roll bands, and you had the hip hop and rock and roll. They're still under the umbrella of music, but they're still separate, you know?
Yeah.
I think with vintage, it's still under the umbrella of fashion and also with high-end streetwear. But now we have an opportunity to bring both of those parallels together.
And I think like just like aesthetically, like vintage clothing and high-end streetwear go hand in hand.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Like I could definitely see someone pairing, like you're wearing an Off-White shirt right now, but like I could definitely see someone pairing that with like a vintage like Levi's denim jacket.
Oh
or,
yeah,
like,
100%.
You know what I mean? Something like that.
Or like an old school like Calvin Klein hat or something like that.
Yeah, like
something really simple.
It's like peanut butter and jelly. You know?
Yeah.
They've always just kind of belonged together. right?
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
And I think those like little things that we constantly have to do. How can we incorporate different aspects of subcultures together? So essentially, like it's like the whole collaboration aspect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where
But not even like creating it, just like going with it.
yeah.
You know, because like it already exists. It's already a booming like community that is like, you know, huge in itself. So just like supporting that and like giving people what they want, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's always important because when we initially started this, we were like we were so ignorant and arrogant just to think
So arrogant.
to like, oh, these are the vintage pieces that we like, no matter what. So people are gonna like them regardless. But in reality, that's not the way it works. You have to watch, take your time to understand the community, and then like it's really good to plot. But again, like the whole trial and error process that we go through, like we're slowly starting to learn that.
We're learning it slowly in time, and like, you know, there's tons of stuff. Like half the time when I'm, you know, picking items for, you know, our inventory, I'll see tons of stuff, and I'm like, wow, I would never wear this. I don't understand why anyone wears this. This is ugly, but I know people want it, so I get it.
Exactly.
Not everything. I'm not gonna like everything that I sell. I have a passion for everything that I sell because I know that the quality's there. Is a vintage brand. I know it like suits our, you know, business model and our mission and everything that we like stand for and believe in. But like, I don't like everything that we get, you know, aesthetically. But at the end of the day, if people want it, they want it.
And it's crazy though. It's just like any relationship, right? I'm sure maybe if this person has 100 characteristics, you're not gonna like all 100 characteristics about them. You know, there's gonna be 5 or 6 that you're like, this really turns me off. But that other 95 is what keeps you engaged and wants you to like be with that person and continue the relationship. You know, and even with myself, it's just like I find sometimes when people do the vintage clothing, they're trying a bit too hard. They'll have this and that and that and this, but that's not up to me.
No.
That's not up to me to dictate what I think is appropriate and not appropriate in terms of fashion.
And at the same time, I'm sure people look at us when we're at vintage shows and they're like, oh, these guys aren't vintage enough.
Like, you know what I mean?
So it's like, there's like 2 extremes there, you know?
Exactly.
At the end of the day, everyone's their own person. No one's in a place to judge. Just do you, I'll do me.
Exactly.
We'll live in harmony.
Exactly, man.
That rhymed.
Yeah. You do you, I do me. We'll live in harmony. I like that. I like that. You should like copyright that. Make a song out of it.
Or just become a rapper.
Live in harmony. Hey.
Next track's coming up soon.
That's too crazy. So in terms of us opening ourselves to this new market, what are some things that you would like to see?
I would just like to see us, you know, really, you know, humble ourselves and get kind of like integrated into this not necessarily a new community, but like as an extension of like the community that we're already in, and just learn from like, you know, the streetwear culture, whether it's like vintage streetwear or like higher end contemporary vintage or new vintage, not vintage, but new streetwear clothing. And just learn from it, figure out new distribution channels, because I'm sure there's probably like a bunch of stuff that like we don't necessarily know about right now that like we could be opened up to eventually. So I definitely want to go there at some point and try to figure those types of things out.
With myself, I think I kind of have an idea of what the North American demographic wants in terms of like streetwear and stuff like that. But I would love to delve into like Asia, the UK, to see what they're wearing, what they really like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure there are going to be like small nuances that we're not really aware about, that we can just like simply do a search and read articles and just do our research upon it.
Or also just exploring like why like we're popular in certain areas. Like, remember how we were talking about the other day how like a lot of the times we're shipping stuff to Australia? Yeah,
Australia is becoming crazy popular with us.
Yeah.
And I think, one of my thoughts is that the products that some companies release are not available in other regions of the world, right? So they'll have a limited run of items in certain areas, and I think maybe that's what's going on with Australia. With now the internet, it allows everyone to be exposed to all brands and all different styles and everything, you know. So no one's like really left behind like they once were. I think that's a part of it, but I would love to like just do a bit of research and see like what is that demographic craving for and what do they really like.
Like maybe they have a huge like vintage or streetwear community in Australia that like
that's underserved or something.
That's underserved, or that, you know what I mean, that doesn't have like a huge amount of access to what they want, essentially.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that could definitely be it. So yeah, I definitely want to research that and figure out a little bit more like how we can properly serve like this new demographic that
exactly. But the one thing I'm worried about is like going overseas. Not necessarily worried about, but can like just limit our profits because yes, I'm all about the money. The shipping aspect of it, because if we ship somewhere in North America, let's say maximum's like $15 with tracking.
Yeah.
But if we do that same thing with tracking, it's literally like $50.
But I think at the end of the day, that's just an expense that we're going to have to cover, and the only way that we can kind of get around that is by shipping more, by selling more, because like think about it, there's going to be times when like we ship something to like Australia and yeah, that cost us $50. Then there's going to be numerous times where we ship numerous packages to the States or BC or somewhere in Ontario, somewhere in Canada, and it costs us $10. You know, it's just like the profit margins are going to be big for some, and then the profit margins are going to be a lot less for some.
So I think that's the conversation we have to have, right? So it's like, let's say we have one item where we generally make, let's say $10 off it or whatever, Are we okay when we have to ship it to Australia, we're only making $2 off it? Because at the end of the day, it's still a profit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're still exposing ourselves to that community, and we're helping us build on that demographic.
From my perspective, if someone's already purchased it, I want to fulfill their wants. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, like we, realize that, the cost of shipping is just too much or whatever.
So it's like, next time.
Yeah, next time we'll take care of you.
I got you next time. Don't worry. I got you next time. Yeah, that's
so it's just it's inconvenient. It's annoying. Like think about it. If you were shopping for something, you wouldn't want to place your order and then find out the next day or the same day that they can't fulfill that. You know what I mean?
Pissed.
I'd be annoyed.
Annoying.
Exactly. And so I think there's just ways for us as business owners to like navigate our ways around it, unless we're gonna come up with our own like postal service, which isn't gonna happen.
It's not happening right
we
now.
just need to find a way to sell more, so that way when there are times when we are shipping things like internationally to places like Australia or whatnot, we can like recoup those costs in other ways.
Yeah.
And also I think we've gotten around that a little bit, because I know like for our selling apps, the ones that we do get more international buyers from, we price it a little bit higher. Differently.
Yeah, that is very true.
Right? So like that's our way of kind of like counteracting it as much as we can, obviously within reason, but like that's the best that we can do at this point in time. So I think that we're good with doing that and continuing with that for the time being.
Yeah, 100%. And then when that actually does become an issue and it actually starts decreasing our profits and our bottom line. Exactly. So I think you have a really good point in that.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. And also staying on the whole money thing, you were saying something like really good the other day, where at one point you were like, I wouldn't say fearful, but you thought it was like overly superficial that for people to be worried about money and want to get money, but then you found a way to like reframe that in your mind, and now the perspective that you have is more so about using money as a tool. Like what did you mean by that exactly?
Because like I feel like anyone who's kind of come from like a middle lower class, whatever you want to call it, type of upbringing, you've kind of had this like distant, almost like omniscient relationship with money, I guess I could say. And then in some aspects it turns into something that's seen as like a negative thing, because a lot of the times when you see people who are like very, very rich and very, very well off and very wealthy, they seem or they may come off as being like out of touch, or they may come off as being like stuck up or like bougie or just ungrateful in a lot of ways. So I think that for myself personally, it was kind of just like a normal reaction to kind of have like a negative connotation towards money, or a negative connotation towards like wanting money, because like a lot of the times like I either saw the uber rich being like snotty and whatnot, or just like people who got like a little like tax return and like like you know what I mean, wasted all the money at like Louis Vuitton, or like just to walk around in Yorkdale with like a Louis bag. So I don't know, it's just obviously my perceptions of it. But then as like I was thinking, and I've been reading this book, it's a really popular book called You Are a Badass. You've
been reading that book forever.
I know.
At least like 10 years now.
I know. It's because I like to take my time when I read. I am a slow reader regardless, but I really like to enjoy my reading process.
I think a part of it too is that like I don't think you enjoy reading as much as you do. I think you enjoy reading like
I'd rather watch a show.
Like reading like an article or something like that because it's quick and easy. But when you read a book, it's a huge commitment. You're saying I'm gonna sit down and read at least 20 pages and finish this thing off.
Honestly, I'm gonna share a secret with everyone right now. I'm gonna share a secret. I don't even think you know it.
Okay.
Getting nervous.
You don't know how to read.
No, I do know how to read.
Oh my god. I thought you were illiterate or something. Okay, what's the secret? What's the secret?
Hold my hand.
I'll help you.
So.
Okay.
I'm 26.
Yes.
Are you nervous?
Kind of. I don't know what's going on right now.
I'm 26. I've never finished a book in my life.
Yeah? Why though?
I always read to like say it's like 100 pages.
Yeah.
I'll read to like 99
Yeah.
or like 95 and I'll be like, yeah, I get it.
Why though?
I don't know. For me, it's like I get what I want out of the book and then I'm done with it.
For me, the reason why I enjoy reading, I enjoy learning. I don't like reading, but I like forcing myself to do things I do not want to do. And I think with something like reading, that's one of the biggest challenges that you can do. Is like, I'm going to commit myself to doing this, even if it's not that enjoyable. Because I don't know, maybe I'm speaking for myself, maybe a lot of people can understand where I'm coming from, but to sit down and force yourself just to read something just because is extremely difficult at times, you know what I mean?
It is.
And like for me, it allows me to like use that same skill and transfer it over to something else. It's like, okay, I'm building my discipline on reading. Well, maybe when I'm studying for my test, I can do it. Maybe when I'm at work, I could be more engaged in my work and force myself to do that. You know what I mean? It like, and that's what I use it as. Again, like what you were saying about money, like you have to use it as a tool, and that's what I try to use reading.
Well, I never got to that point. I never got to that point.
We'll get back.
But yeah, no, I do see what you're saying. It is, and like the thing with me is like I really only read when I'm on the subway.
Yeah.
And I don't usually take the subway, so.
You don't usually read.
I don't usually read, but I really am enjoying this book, and I.
Yeah, because I remember you were telling me a lot about the book and how like relatable it is to you.
It is, yeah. So basically, overall, back to what I was saying before, the book talks about, not focusing on money as a negative thing, because at the end of the day, we all want money and we all need it to some extent, but think of it as a tool, because essentially that's what money is. The money is a tool for you to obtain anything that you need to obtain, anything that you want to obtain, or do the things that you're passionate about doing, If you don't have money to survive, if you don't have money to like, buy your groceries.
Yeah, provide for yourself.
Provide for yourself in general. You can't do anything that you're passionate about. You can't do anything that you're interested in. It's like the hierarchy of needs. If you're hungry, you're thirsty, you're not thinking about putting on makeup. You're not thinking about like getting dressed up all fancy.
Or looking like a bad bitch. You're not worried about that.
Wow.
No matter what, no matter what, you always have to worry about that.
Well, no, you know what I mean. You're focused on your basic needs first, and then it goes up from there. So that's just generally how I try to view money now, and I think it's a positive thing. I think when you start to view things negatively, that's when it seems harder to obtain. When you view things positively, it's like everything's in abundance. It's always available.
Yeah, and that's really, really good too. Because sometimes when you look at it as such a negative thing, you're essentially building these like psychological blocks in your head when it comes to money, and you're like, oh well, maybe I shouldn't go to this job and work at this place because it's just about money. I might actually don't enjoy it. But if you could reframe it in your head, it's like, okay, I will work here to get the money so I can eventually do what I want to do.
Exactly.
And I think that's able to like just talk about the sacrifice and just the reframing of it.
Exactly.
What you were saying and everything.
And I feel like sometimes like that can be a little bit of a problem with like our generation especially.
I hate when people say that. I hate when people like create this umbrella term about like millennials and everything.
No, I'm not saying no. I'm not making a general term, but I feel like there's a lot of people that I know in general that are in my age group and my age demographic that don't like understand the concept of like you need to like struggle and you need to struggle for a period of time.
So for me, I don't necessarily think a millennial.
Finished.
1 second. I don't necessarily think.
I wasn't finished.
Okay, 1 second. I don't necessarily think a millennial is an age. I think it's more so a mindset. And like
Okay.
same thing as like a baby boomer.
Okay, but I'm just talking from my personal experience.
Okay.
I'm talking in reference to the people that I know and the people that I'm around a lot of the time. I feel like people just want to be at like the top of their game right now. People want, that successful business that they own, or they want to be at like the top of their field, or be at the top of their game, or do whatever it is that they want to do. They want to be the best at it, which is completely fine.
Yeah, which is fair.
It's fine. Everybody wants to be the best at whatever they do. But like, I feel like sometimes there's a lack of understanding that like everything in life is a process. Like everything in life. And I don't think it's just like our generation that thinks that way. There's people that from all ages that think that way. I just think in like
From people that you've interacted
from the people that I've interacted with, who also
enough.
tend to be around my age, they generally think that like
Yo, I should be booming by now.
I should be here, but
It's
it's
been
like
3 months I've been working at this business. Why am I not booming yet?
yeah, and I feel that way sometimes too. Like,
Oh, we do. Well, yeah, for
sometimes,
sure.
Sometimes, like, I'll look at someone's successful business and they'll be like, yeah, like I tripled my corporate. How people love to say that. I tripled my corporate salary in 6 months. And it's like,
How come I can't triple my salary
Yeah,
in 3 years?
and I'm, you know what I mean? And I'm watching it, I'm like, well, damn, like, show me what you're doing. Like, how come I can't do that? And then you try your hardest and you try your best and it still doesn't work out. But at the end of the day, everyone's process is different and everyone has their own journey and their own, like, transitions that they need to work through to get to where they want to be. And, like, at the end of the day, you're only going to get in as much as you've put in. You're only going to get out as much as you've put in. But at the end of the day, like, there's just so much that you can put in, and you don't know everything right now. Like, that's the thing that I think that a lot of people forget is, like, they put in all their energy and all their time, so they're like, okay, why isn't this amazing yet? It's like, because maybe you just don't know everything yet. Maybe there's something that you need to learn. Maybe you need to experience this, like, rough patch for you to realize something else. Like, everything is a process, everything is a journey, and everything takes time.
So within the last year, do you think there was like an experience that you went through where that whole idea reflects that the most? Of like, at one point maybe you were just like, oh, why am I not here yet? Oh, I should be here. And then after a while you start to realize like, hey, like...
Well, yeah, 100%. So, like, when I failed my boards exam, so I'm now a certified public health inspector.
Big up yourself!
But. So, minus the gunshots. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, everyone.
No violence, guys.
No violence.
Unity.
Peace on earth.
Unity.
So, I am a certified public health inspector now, but I failed my boards exam the first time. So, just to give you a little bit of a background, so a boards exam is not like a test. It's a panel of judges and an oral.
That's so daunting, eh?
It's like armpit sweating, like stomach turning, breath hot and dry. It's that type of stress.
It's like fight or flight.
Yeah, it's like you're about to get eaten by the lion or not. So, so basically, I failed my exam the first time. So went from having like basically my dream job to being fired and unemployed within like 24 hours, or actually like 12 hours. So it was pretty stressful. And yeah, like I guess I kind of went through that process in that sense, whereas I felt as if like I had done everything right, everything that I was supposed to do. I studied for a very long time. I felt very prepared for this exam, and it just like didn't pan out for whatever reason. And then I kind of just went through this process of like sadness and disorder and a lack of just general direction, because I was so like steadfast on that one goal and that one job for so long that I lost sight of like just generally like who I am as a person and all the things that make me happy aside from like a one career, one job title. But long story short, I continued to pursue it, and I got my certification the next year. But then within that year, I was still really like headstrong on being an inspector.
Yeah, just being in the industry and everything.
Being in the industry. And I've spent probably like 6 or 7 months just, continuously applying for the same job over and over and over again, and not really getting anywhere with it. And then one day I kind of just like woke up and I was like, hey, like I'm already a business owner. I already know how to put like systems in place to get the ball rolling, to get like my product or service out there and see if people are interested in it or not. So why don't I just try that with my education and the like knowledge that I have now? It's kind of with your help too. You kind of pushed me to give you a little shout out. You happy?
Thank you. I'll take the credit. I'm not gonna lie.
You're welcome. So yeah, I just put myself out there a little bit more, and then I started my own business by the name of Food Safety Consulting, FST.
Feel free to do a Google. Right, just feel free to do a Google.
And yeah, that was it.
Nice.
So I feel like that was just kind of my process going through a little bit of anxiety and confusion in reference to like this one job that I thought I was supposed to have right now. And then, you know, working outside of that to kind of find my own path and my own journey and figure out like what my process was supposed to be. Because clearly it wasn't never supposed to be the straight and narrow, or else I would have passed my exam the first time. And I really do think that everything happens as it should, and everything happens for a reason. I don't think that there's any mistakes in your life, even like the small, like bad and annoying things. Like for example, I know I'm rambling, but I'm in the mood to ramble. So today I was on my way to the gym and I was having a really bad like hour. I was pissed. So John L comes home. He decides that he's going to do some haircuts. He does like barbering on the side. And he was supposed to drop off packages. All of a sudden he decides, no, I'm not going to drop off the packages. I have to do these haircuts. So I'm like, okay, well, then I guess the packages are just going to have to go out another day. And then he's like, oh no, they need to go out today. So I had to take myself up because the people were already at our house or on their way to our house. I had to take myself up and go drop off these packages. And I had already scheduled something else to do during that time in my agenda. So I was kind of annoyed. Yeah, you could say like, oh, well, Colette, you're supposed to be like adaptable and be able to like, you know, mold yourself to different like situations and changes and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I should be, but today I wasn't. And I wasn't in the mood. But anyways, I picked myself up and I went to go deliver these packages.
And then what happened?
So I'm in the car on my way to go there. Find that this one place. Why are you laughing?
I'm not laughing. I'm engaging.
You're laughing. Is closed. Okay? I took all that time to get there, and now the place was closed. So you know what? I was like, this isn't going to ruin my day, even though I'm already pissed off. I was like, this isn't going to ruin my day. I'm going to, you know, make the best of my time. I'm going to go to the gym, get a good workout. I'll feel so much better after I work out. I'm on my way to the gym. Phone's at 15%, okay? 1-5. I'll repeat that. 1-5. You heard what I said?
Yes, 15%.
15%. What does it do? It dies. It dies right away. Okay? So I'm at the gym, and I'm the type of person, I do not like working out without music. And you know the music that they play at the gym? It's never good. Ever.
They have a 1-2 track sometimes.
No.
I can't lie. There's a 1-2 bumping track.
I don't know. No.
Like they played that finessing song with Bruno Mars and
okay,
Cardi B
and that
today.
lasts me one set. Like,
well,
so I can't replay. I can't. You know what I mean? So no. Nobody likes working out without music. So I was like, you know what? Whatever. I'm here now. I contemplated turning back home so many times, but like, it just wasn't working for me. I was at a left light. I couldn't just make it. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So I just went to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at the gym and something kind of not like super amazing. Like you guys are going to hear this and you're going to be like, this is what she was leading up to this whole time. So basically like along the lines of me, you know, my whole idea of like everything happens for a reason, even like the small and little things. So I was at the gym and I'm the queen of eavesdrop.
Really
I am a professional eavesdropper. I have found out the most mix-up through eavesdropping. I recommend everybody eavesdrop.
You learn a lot though, right?
I learned so much. Find out like the most information. It's very, very useful. So I recommend you put it in place a couple times here and there. So, you know, I was doing my usual eavesdrop. And I overheard this conversation while I was at the gym of this girl. It's actually not. It's a very sad one. So this girl, her dad is like a successful business owner, something along those lines. And then it kind of sounded like a date of some sort. Like I guess this girl was like working out with some guy. and they were just like talking about their families and whatnot. And she was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, so what about your mom? And she was like, yeah, like my mom actually passed away a couple of years ago. And he was like, oh, so sorry to hear that. And she was like, yeah, like it's just, you know, it was really hard for me, one of like the hardest things I've ever been through in my life, but like it helped me like grow into a better person and all those sorts of things. And I was like, wow, if I had my, you know, Soca 2018 mix blasting in my head right now,
you wouldn't be able to. Like,
I would have never heard that. And then it just taught me, like, you can't live your life stressing over the fact that, like, your boyfriend didn't do what he said he was going to do and, like, a plan changed. Or, like, you were driving on your way to go deliver a package and the place was closed. Or you really wanted to work out with music and you didn't have any music there. Like, those things don't matter.
My mom could be dead.
You just, like, ruined the whole thing.
But that's basically what you were alluding to, right?
Not necessarily alluding to it, but just, like, there's bigger things in life, and there's more important things in life, and, like, there's no point in stressing over the little things that are gonna happen, you know? You just kind of have to...
Like, I'm gonna make you mad sometimes.
Yeah, you're gonna...
A lot of times.
A lot. It's gonna happen, but at the end of the day, I love you, and you're my best friend, and it's okay.
I love you too, babe.
It's okay, you know? So, I don't know, I just, like, I really do believe that everything happens for a reason, and I think that all those things happen for a reason, and I heard that conversation for a reason. I'm a professional eavesdropper for a reason. Yeah, all those things, it's just, it all comes together, and I just think it's important.
I think it's good, too, because before you left, you were kind of, like, really annoyed that, oh, I'm not going to get all the things I wanted to get done, because I'm going to have to change my schedule now. And you came home and you killed it. You came back, you had your food, you started organizing your notes, and like within the hour you were done everything, you know? So I think sometimes you kind of have to like believe in your process so much more and understand like you're gonna get this shit done, you know? I guess maybe at that point it looked like, oh man, this is like really overwhelming right now. I'm already like 2 hours behind my schedule. But you put your head down, you ended up killing it. And that's why like with me, like I know sometimes like I make decisions on your behalf and it's really not fair. But a lot of times I'm just like, yo, Kot's got this anyway, man. What is she stressing over? It's like I kind of already know that you're going to accomplish all your goals before you do.
Yeah, but you also have to let me figure that out for myself.
No, and that is true, but that's why we're in a relationship, right? I have to sometimes help push you in a direction that you're unsure of, and that's what you've been able to do. Like, the only reason why we've started this business was because I was able to take a lot of your processes and how you built yourself up to become the person you are, and I was able to implement those things into the business. And you did that unconsciously, you know? But sometimes I'm a lot more straightforward, you know? I'm like, hey, you got this, man. Just keep it going. like, don't worry, you got this, you know what I mean? So I think like both of our methods, of course, they're really like different, but they're successful for me to you and you to me. Because you know how I work, and I know how you work for the most part, you know what I mean?
I guess that's fair.
Yeah. And again, it's like, I've been with you for so long, so I kind of know that like, she is overreacting, but I can't tell her that. Because then it's going to create another issue, so it's
That's the worst.
Yeah. It's true, it's like, don't tell someone how they should be feeling, you know?
No, that's not fair.
Exactly. So it's like, a lot of times, it's like, I'll give you your space, I'll allow you to like, think that the world is falling, but then in reality, you got this, man. You got this. You always do.
Thanks.
No problem, man.
I feel really good now.
Yeah, you're greasy. Nice. Okay, so for this week, some things that I really want to focus on are finalizing what each platform is really used for. What the Facebook's going to be used for, what the LinkedIn's going to be used for, what the Instagram is going to be used for. Because if with the cycle that I'm creating about the marketing, it doesn't make sense if people are jumping from one platform to the next and it's the same information again the whole time. They might as well just stay on one platform.
Yeah.
So it's constantly again pushing people from one thing to the next and next and next and bringing them back constantly and everything like that, right?
I think we talked about that a little bit generally last week. Just how our Facebook is going to be more like content based.
Yeah.
Our articles.
No, everything's going to be content based.
Everything. Sorry, not content based, but
more so educational,
like
informative.
Word articles, those types
like
of things.
our podcast will be there.
Our podcast will be there. Whereas like
The
our
Instagram is gonna be more
Instagram's
like
more like
lifestyle
clothing
and promotional things.
selling as well.
Exactly, right.
Those types of things.
And then our website will combine the two.
Yeah, and then all of our selling apps are just selling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then our LinkedIn as well, because I think we're doing a really good job on from business to business. We found those two good relationships where we're actually going to be supplying businesses with clothing with the brick and mortar stores.
Yeah.
So I think we can use LinkedIn as another way to reel people in, to be like, hey, like we have these relationships as well. Maybe we can set up meetings and see how we can bring value to your company.
Yeah, no, that's a good thing.
Like, so it's constantly like finding different ways and just different doors to knock on, essentially.
And I think also too, like, utilizing our events a little bit more, because we have an event for February. We have right now 2 for March.
Yeah.
Possibly 3 for March.
Yeah, and then we have one for
April. We have 1 for March right now, 1 for April, possibly 2 for March.
Yeah, we've Soul Exchange. We gotta sign up for.
Maybe is in March as well.
Okay, that's perfect. It's funny how the world works too, because our vacation is from March 6th to the 13th, and we're like, oh man, I hope like none of these events get in the way. I hope like we're actually able to. I hope our vacation doesn't get in the way of these events.
I don't care. I'll sell clothes on the cruise ship.
No, 100%. But then it's gonna be like it's bad customer service because like we're gone for 7 days. If someone buys something the first day, what are we gonna do? I was at work thinking about this today. I was like, do we have to like essentially shut down business while we're away?
I'm still posting.
Yeah. It honestly doesn't make. Yeah, nothing's gonna stop us, yo. Who cares?
At the end of the day, nothing's gonna stop us.
Yeah, we're gonna
In worst case, we'll bring some stuff with us.
Okay, you're pushing it. Like, how are you gonna know what's gonna sell or not? What are you talking about?
I was like,
yeah, we'll bring our whole inventory.
No, I was thinking like we'll bring stuff with us, post that, and then we can ship it off from wherever we're at. But then I'm like, we're on a cruise ship.
Like, who's doing all that? Like we're like in the
Atlantic Ocean,
like the Caribbean Sea.
We're dedicated.
Yeah, but that's what it's all about, right? That's what it's all about.
But yeah, no, we'll make it work, and we'll be fine. We'll make it work.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a 1 week thing, so it won't be too bad. Like we'll be fine.
We can still post and just be like, just so you know.
Like if people do order stuff, we'll just talk to them. We'll let them know.
Yeah, we'll be like, just so you know, maybe you'll get it like a week and a half later than you expect to.
Yeah, but like the way our business has been running right now, it's not even the international stuff that's doing really, really well. It's the local stuff.
Yeah.
So like for me, it's more so thinking like, are we gonna miss out on a couple of sales?
We probably will. But
yeah, that's the price of doing business at the end of the day. And I think with all those events from March, like 3 events in March, that'll kind of like counteract things and bring it back to balance.
So we do want to do Soul Exchange then?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay.
100%. And especially with that new demographic, they're really in tune with the whole idea of luxury streetwear. So to bring those new brands there and everything like that, it's good, and it allows us to like meet new people, engage with them, and figure out like what they want, what items are they purchasing right now, what are the cool things, what's trendy, you know?
Yeah.
So that's really, really good.
Yeah.
And it's cool too about the whole vintage stuff, is because like I don't feel the idea of vintage is now becoming more trendy, but a lot of the pieces that I focus on, or I think the business focuses on a whole, they're more so pieces that you can wear if you're 15 or 50. You know, you could wear like a nice vintage Barbour jacket with a really crisp button up from like the early 90s, you know? Where the streetwear stuff, it has like a shorter lifespan because it's more so focused on like what's currently within those subcultures.
It's very like niche.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of have to like really research both of those markets to understand how the company can really fit in.
Which we have.
Yeah, we have, but we have to constantly do that.
Yeah, we have to be updated with it.
Yeah, we can't be arrogant to be like, yeah, these items worked, so we're just
gonna
stick with
work
these
forever. Yeah.
Like, I wish business was that easy though. You find one thing, it's like, oh yeah, I'm done for good.
No,
I'm done for good.
You always have to keep adapting and keep evolving.
That's what's important. It's just like, again, to like bring this analogy up, like any relationship. Yeah. I remember at one point, like, we were kind of like butting heads and everything because I was able to like find a lane that I was becoming successful at, and maybe with you it was a bit harder for you. Like, you know, you're walking through the mud, you're still progressing but at a slower pace, and I forgot how that has the ability to affect you. So in certain instances, like if we would talk about maybe like our jobs, for instance, you know, you would more so take it like, oh, I hate this, I don't like this job. Or with my attitude, it was like, what's wrong with you? like, why are you upset about this? Like, it's just a job, you know what I mean? But again, it's being able to adapt to you and understanding, like, hey, like, she's going through something right now.
Yeah.
Let me be understanding. Let me see how I can, like, change how I would normally react to her to better suit her needs.
I was going through like a major transition that I think a lot of people go through when like because I feel like in some circumstances a lot of times people equate their job with their identity. Like, how many times have you met someone and they'll be like, hey, my name's John and I'm a accountant. It's like, what, bro, I never asked you where you work. like, like, you know what I mean? Like, people will just like say it out of nowhere. Like, you're watching The Bachelor or something and they'll be like, Mandy,
Head chef.
Or like, you know what I mean? It says her age, it says her occupation, and it's like as a society, like what we do is like so in tuned with like
who we are.
So like for me to like kind of go through that transition and be like, no, like what I do is what I do and who I am is who I am. And they're two like
sometimes they overlap
and sometimes, you know, aspects of myself mend into like, you know, what I do, and aspects of what I do mend into who I am, but they're completely separate things. It was a hard thing for me to understand.
And that's what, and from my perspective, I was never that type of person to associate my identity with my work. I always, like, you know me, like, I always try to do different things and just try to explore and learn different ideas and everything.
Yeah.
And it was hard for me to grasp that idea that you had.
Yeah.
After, so, like, through, again, like, taking a step back, really listening to you and understanding how you're feeling, that's when I was finally able to learn and see, like, hey, like, she cares about this. No, this isn't necessarily her identity, but right now, she wants to accomplish this goal.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. But yeah, I think this is kind of everything that we've gone over for this week's strategy session. Is there anything else that you want to kind of
Okay, so just to
on?
finish it off, reviewing the marketing plan, the cycle. So we'll do that on Saturday. You just want to put that date down there for me.
All right.
Finalizing what each platform is used for. Okay, I think we kind of already know, but I just want, again, just to create a system for it so we both know.
We'll do that Saturday too.
Exactly. We'll just take it
That's
like
with
an
the
hour.
Marketing.
Yeah, organizing events. I think you already do a really good job of that already.
I already did organize them. I just
and you have the template and everything for which ones we're going through, how much they cost and all that. Okay, good stuff. Sign up for those 2 events that we need to do, and then update the LinkedIn. Okay, because we have a bunch of content that we need to do, so that's essentially what the LinkedIn's going to be. I'll watch some YouTube videos to see how we can properly utilize LinkedIn and not just randomly this is that and that is this, you know what I mean? Again, finding a way to properly work with the community on LinkedIn, because I'm sure the way that we engage with Instagram and Facebook is probably going to be totally different on LinkedIn, right?
Because LinkedIn's more like business to business, so like it's literally going to be like the front of our business. Like, it's not going to be so as personable as like the other apps are, but it still is useful in some aspect, especially when we're trying to build like collaborations and partnerships with outside businesses. So
beautiful. All right, amazing job. And guys, thank you so much for sitting with us, listening to us. Kyle had some amazing rambling today, so hopefully you guys can take little notes and learn from her. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.
See ya.
Nice.